Hello again and thanks for joining. So we've got another versus battle today. One is Liliput and the other is Marklin, and they're both a model of the same wagon, and it is a Type O MMV, I believe, from the Deutsche Bundesbahn. The Liliput model is number 21100 and the Marklin model is number 4430. They're both second-hand models and they both cost around about the same price. You're probably looking around about maybe £5 to £10 per wagon. But one of these has an extra feature which absolutely raises it above the other. So let's check them out. Let's start off with the Marklin one. Well, unfortunately the coupling has fallen out of this one and it was wrestling me to get it out of the box there. So let me just put this back in and then we can do the review. So it's a simple push fit into there, so that was quite an easy fix. Anyway, looking at this model a bit closer up, it's obviously a mineral wagon, and this is quite a simple moulding and it's quite a shiny effect on it, and it doesn't seem really that realistic. We've also got some problems like here where the moulding isn't quite right, but what is good is the printing, which is very clear. You can see it down the side of the wagon, and even here on the door there's some printing which is really very small. Inside we don't have any detail in the sidewalls, and we just have a plain planked bottom to this one. The chassis is also very plain. There's not a lot of detail there, although we do have this cross bracing piece down here, and we've got an acceptable amount of detail on the springs and the axle boxes, but we do also have brakes in line with the wheels, which is really cool. The wheels revolve really well as well. Big flanges on these, but that's indicative of the age. Underneath it's another shiny piece of plastic. This time it's in black, and we have some representation of the brake gear here. We have Marklin made in Western Germany, which gives you a hint that this was made before 1989. You saw that the couplings just push fit in and they move back and forth to help keep this coupled up. It's quite a neat little spring arrangement there. It's mostly made of plastic, but we do have this part in metal. The buffers look okay, and at each end of the wagon there's some detail moulded in here. So overall it's a pretty basic model, this one. I think it's right for adding things like a load and maybe some weathering, certainly to get rid of this sheen that it's got. But let's have a look at the Liliput model. So this one comes in a much sturdier box, this plastic one. So let's get it open and we'll check this one out too. So one thing's for sure, the brown plastic on this is much better. It's like a matte finish and it looks much more realistic. We've also got an awful lot more printing on this and it's all very clear as well. The writing on the doors is even finer than it was in the Marklin one. We don't have much detail on the chassis here either, but the springs are nicely defined, and again we've got brakes in line with the wheels, which are dulled metal this time and also revolve really good. The chassis is a completely different affair on this one. We've got a hole in the middle and I'll show you why that is in a minute, but we've got old school Liliput fittings for these with the little metal springs, very similar to Pico ones of the era, and the buffers are separate pieces which have been added into the chassis. Now you might have noticed, if you look at this pretty closely, it looks as though it's shaped like a banana, and you might think that that is because the chassis is a bit bent, and that might be true because it does bend a little bit in the middle, and it bends because this is actually a three-piece moulding and it has its little party trick, which is that these parts actually move up and down. So with them in the up position, you can see how this would have discharged its load down through the centre here, and there's a little bit at the bottom which opens up. We've even got little representation of hydraulic rams as well, and some detailing underneath here as well, which is really cool. Now it is a bit of a gimmick, these, because you have to do this manually, but it does elevate this above the Marklin one, and if you consider that this cost the same price as the Marklin one, I think this extra feature really helps this model. So it is a bit of a gimmick, this, I think, but if you're going to go for one of these wagons, I would definitely say go for this one, because that is such a cool feature and I've never seen that before on these types of wagons before. Anyway, let's put both of these on the scales and we'll see how much they weigh. The Marklin model weighs 45 grams and the Liliput model is 58 grams. So we've seen here today two different approaches to modelling the same wagon. If we start off with the Marklin one, I think they've cut a lot of corners here. The interior is just like pretty basic and it doesn't have much going for it. And the plastics used here are a bit shiny and just don't look realistic at all. To be fair, the printing is good on it, but I think they could have done a lot better with this. Liliput have gone the extra mile by having this additional feature, which really looks quite cool and elevates that wagon above the Marklin one, I think. And even though you can get these for around about the same price, I think the Liliput one is definitely the one to go for. Even if you don't use that feature, I think things like the plastics that you've used work a lot better with that satin finish, and the printing is also very good. So it's definitely my winner, but what do you think about these two models? Let me know in the comments below, And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps this channel. I'll put both of these onto the turntable so you can see all the way around, and that icon that's going to appear in a moment is another video I've done. Just click on that, I'll see you there. But thanks for checking out these wagons with me. Let me know which is your favourite, and I'll see you on the next one.
So model trains, model words, choo-choo, model trains, in tiny worlds, choo-choo, model trains, model worlds, choo-choo, model trains, tiny trains.